It's a sick joke. Clowns wear crowns, while the wise are shackled. The most foolish people end up in power, strutting on the world stage, while those with real intelligence and integrity are sidelined, silenced, or worse. The world seems upside down. You see it every day. Turn on the news, another blustering leader, clearly out of his depth, yet commanding an entire nation. Step into your office, a bumbling manager giving orders they barely understand. It makes your blood boil. How did we get here? I know you felt this injustice in your own life. You work hard, play by the rules, do the right thing, only to watch a smooth-talking fool swoop in and take the credit, the promotion, the reward. You've been taught to be good, to be honest, and you've been hurt because of it. It stings, doesn't it? It makes you wonder if decency is just a sucker's game. Here is the paradox. Power often rewards not intelligence or integrity, but the ability to manipulate perception. It favors those who project unshakable confidence and reduce complex problems to simple, seductive answers. If you can play the hero, loud, certain, unashamed, you can seize the crown even if you're a fraud. Meanwhile, the honest geniuses, the careful thinkers, stand on the sidelines, shaking their heads. This isn't a new phenomenon. 5 centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli saw it clearly. In The Prince, he writes that men judge far more by appearances than by reality. Everyone sees what you seem to be. Few truly know what you are. In other words, if you can fake virtue and strength, people will assume you have them and reward you with power. Machiavelli understood that actual virtue and wisdom often lose out to the appearance of them. He warned that a prince need not truly be good, only to seem good when it suits him. Be generous when people are watching, ruthless when they're not. Appear strong, even when you feel fear. Why? Because people are fooled by the show. They flock to the confident performance and overlook the reality. Think of ancient Rome. Julius Caesar was the ambitious general who understood power and perception, and Cicero was the principled orator devoted to the republic's ideals. Caesar gave the people grand spectacles and easy promises. Guess who seized absolute power and who ended up exiled and executed? Caesar, cunning and brazen, won the crowd and shattered the republic. Cicero, honest and nuanced, was hunted down for his principles. The lesson is clear. The loudest, most ruthless voice often drowns out the voice of reason. The cunning triumph. The principled pay the price. Why does this keep happening in every age and setting? Because in the battle for power, intelligence and morality often act like liabilities. If you're thoughtful, you see complexity and doubt creeps in. If you're ethical, you have limits to what you will do. But the power-hungry fool has no such limits and no such doubts. He charges forward where wiser souls hesitate. The more you know, the more you realize you don't. And in a world that equates uncertainty with strength, humility looks like weakness. The moral person plays fair and refuses to cheat, so they often lose to the cheaters. The result? The bold ignoramus passes for a confident leader, while the quiet genius is dismissed as timid. In the arena of ambition, hesitation is defeat. Modern psychology has a name for this dynamic: the Dunning-Kruger effect. Incompetent people often grossly overestimate their own skill, while the competent underestimate theirs. The fool doesn't know he's foolish, so he's loud and proud, radiating delusional confidence. Meanwhile, the wise know their limits and speak with caution, and the crowd mistakes that caution for weakness, and the loud delusion for leadership. Think about it. Who gets the job or wins the election? The candidate who pounds their chest and shouts, "I alone can fix everything"? or the one who admits the issues are complex and I'll do my best. People gravitate to the brazen certainty of the ignorant because it feels like strength and clarity. By contrast, true wisdom often sounds uncertain, and in a shallow world, uncertainty looks like weakness. Take Jair Bolsonaro, for example. He swaggered his way into power in Brazil on sheer bluster and bravado. He painted himself as a fearless savior with brutal, simple answers. Shoot the bad guys, dismiss a deadly pandemic as a little flu, and scorn experts and data. Millions cheered his confidence. They mistook his arrogance for competence, his simplistic slogans for truth. Bolsonaro's ignorance was staggering, but he didn't know what he didn't know, and that ignorance became his armor. He never doubted himself, and for a while, that was enough to hold power. Only after chaos and crisis set in did people realize the emperor had no clothes. But by then, the damage was done. The Amazon burned and thousands lay dead. This is the cost of mistaking arrogance for ability. This isn't just politics. Look at the corporate world. Adam Newman built a multi-billion-dollar company, WeWork, on little more than charisma and smoke. He strutted into boardrooms preaching that renting desks was a world-changing mission to elevate consciousness. And Masayoshi-san ate it up, handing Newman billions after a single meeting, intoxicated by the young founder's swagger. Newman's confidence was a drug, and everyone around him got high. WeWork was hemorrhaging money, but he projected a grand vision, and for a while that was enough. He inflated his company into a $47 billion bubble of pure hype. When reality hit, that bubble burst, revealing nothing behind the facade. Investors lost fortunes and employees lost their jobs, all because they bought a fool's show. And why did someone as savvy as Masayoshi-san fall for it? Because even the powerful aren't immune. Son had his own hubris, a belief that his gut was infallible, and Newman fed that. The result was a mutual mirage, a fool convincing a fool. It's a stark example of how easy a bold illusion can seduce even the brilliant into abandoning common sense. So why do so many fall for the confident incompetent? Because our minds are wired to confuse confidence with competence, and our systems reward showmanship. We're drawn to certainty like moths to a flame. A loud, unwavering voice triggers a primal hope that maybe this person really knows what he's doing. And our institutions, from elections to executive hires, are often just popularity contests masquerading as meritocracy. We're biased by appearances more than we admit. We assume a loud, assertive person must know what they're doing. We fall for the halo effect. If someone acts like a leader, we tend to give them credibility. And we crave simple answers. A bold, comforting lie often beats a hesitant, complex truth. Our psychology is hijacked by the illusion of certainty. The structural reality is just as grim. In politics, elections become popularity contests of spectacle over substance. The candidate who entertains with grand promises often beats the thoughtful policy expert. In corporations, promotion favors the brash self-promoter over the quiet high performer. There is an irony here. The people most drawn to power are often the least fit to wield it. The honest, competent ones don't crave control. They just want to do good work. But the fools and egomaniacs lust for the spotlight and will do anything to seize it. Our systems don't filter them out. Sometimes it even seems built to let them through. It's a flaw that the shameless exploit over and over again. And once a fool is on the throne, do you think he steps aside when things go wrong? No, he doubles down. He rigs the game to keep himself on top. He surrounds himself with yes-men and sycophants who won't question his mistakes. He quashes dissent, labels any critic a traitor or an enemy of the people. Through fear, confusion, and propaganda, he builds a fortress around his incompetence. Look at Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. Once hailed as a liberator, he drove his country into ruin with disastrous policies and corruption. Inflation soared until money became worthless. Did he admit failure and step down? Never. He rigged elections, unleashed violence on opponents, and fed his people scapegoats. He blamed everyone but himself and clung to power for nearly 4 decades while his nation starved. Mugabe's reign is a blueprint for how incompetence survives. Keep the public angry at imaginary enemies so they don't focus on your failures. Change the laws to entrench your rule and hand out favors to your cronies so they'll defend you. If anyone gets close to unmasking your foolishness, intimidate or eliminate them. Under such tactics, truth dies and foolishness wears the crown unchallenged. Consider Emperor Commodus, son of the wise Marcus Aurelius, who inherited Rome at its height. Instead of governing, he was vain, cruel, and obsessed with playing hero in the arena. He dressed as Hercules and even made the Senate declare him a god. Rome needed a real leader, but it got a narcissistic boy treating the empire like his toy. Commodus turned the Colosseum into his personal playground, parading as a fake Hercules in rigged gladiator fights while neglecting the empire entirely. His power was absolute, and he killed anyone who dared correct him or whom he imagined a threat. It was insanity, wearing the emperor's robes. The nightmare ended only when his own inner circle strangled him to death. But think of the toll. Years of decline, countless lives wrecked, all because a fool held unchecked power. Commodus is a stark reminder that when incompetence sits at the top, everything below suffers. The fish rots from the head, and the rot can consume an empire. By now the pattern is clear, and it's horrifying. The world rewards the worst behaviors and punishes the best. It's enough to make anyone cynical. You start to wonder if there's any point in being honest or kind or smart. Why bother if liars and fools win? It's a dark, bitter truth to swallow, isn't it? I can hear your anger, your frustration building. Perhaps you're even feeling a bit hopeless right now, shaken by how unfair it all is. Good. That means you care. That burning in your chest means you're still alive to what's right. I haven't walked you through this nightmare to break your spirit. I've done it to light a fire in you. Now that we've exposed the chains, the illusions, and the injustice, let's talk about the key in your hand. The story doesn't have to end with fools on thrones and wise souls in shadows. Not if we decide to change the game, starting now. Not if you refuse to accept this twisted status quo one day longer. The problem was never your goodness or your intelligence. The problem was the lie that goodness equals weakness, that morality has no place in power. They told you to choose between integrity and influence. That was the lie. Here is the truth. You can be kind and strong. You can be ethical and effective. You can have integrity and power if you're willing to fight for it. The good people of this world don't need to surrender. They need to sharpen up. If the game is rigged, learn the game and then change it. Use Machiavelli's cunning, but keep your integrity as the compass. Be as sly as the fox and as bold as the lion, but fight for truth, not lies. In short, learn to beat the fool at his own game without becoming a fool yourself. Start with yourself in your own life. Refuse to stay quiet when you know you're right. If you have expertise, declare it. Stop apologizing for knowing what you know. No more being the silent genius watching a loud idiot steer the ship into a reef. Raise your voice. Assert your value. Let them know that you exist and you will not be overlooked or talked over anymore. This doesn't mean adopting their arrogance. It means claiming your own confidence. The foolish have courage born of ignorance. You must find courage born of conviction. When you know you're right, don't flinch. Stand taller. Speak louder. Look them in the eye. Your knowledge and principles deserve a voice as strong as any lie. And when you see a liar holding court, call them out. Do it tactically, with intelligence, but do it. Don't let blatant falsehoods go unchallenged at work, in conversation, in your community. You don't have to be cruel. A calm, factual dismantling of a blowhard's nonsense can be devastating. Shine a light on the incompetence and watch how fast its power withers. Educate those around you about these very illusions. Share what you now see. When a friend gushes about some charismatic politician, gently ask, what are they actually saying? What's behind the show? Teach your team to value results over bravado. Teach your children to question the loudest voice in the room. We combat this cultural sickness one mind at a time by planting seeds of skepticism and insight. Push for systematic changes too. Demand transparency and accountability from those in power. Support reforms that make truth and competence matter, like fact-finding, debates, merit-based promotions. Vote for people who demonstrate humility and wisdom, not just charisma. In your company, reward the quiet high performer, not just the self-promoter. We have to reshape the incentives so that substance triumphs over style. Remember, illusions eventually collapse. Every braggart on a throne faces a reckoning, a knife in the dark, a boardroom revolt, a public awakening. We don't have to wait passively for that. We can hasten it by refusing to be complicit. Celebrate whistleblowers and truth-tellers. Stop glorifying visionaries who are all vision and no reality. The more we reward honesty and competence, the fewer places foolishness can hide. This fight isn't easy. The world will always have its fools and frauds clawing for the top. But remember, they rule only with the consent of the deceived. Withdraw that consent, and they fall. We must become seers of reality, the ones who can't be charmed by the emperor's new clothes. You have more power than you think. Your voice, your choices, your refusal to play along. These are your weapons, so use them. Promise yourself right now, never again will you stay silent when you know the truth. Promise you will trust your own eyes over the flashy show. Promise you will choose what is right over what is easy. Promise you will not be swayed by applause because you are listening for the truth. For too long, the jester has sat on the throne because the crowd kept cheering. But the show is over now. We won't cheer for clowns and crowns anymore. We will not be their obedient audience. This is the moment we flip the script. The wise will no longer wear chains. The fools will no longer wear crowns. Now you know this truth in your bones. The only question left is, what will you do with it? You can try to forget it, slip back into comfortable ignorance and let the pattern continue. Or you can stand up and change something, starting today. This is your fork in the road. Choose. If you choose to wake up and push back, know that you are not alone. Far from it. By opening your eyes, you've joined a small but growing fellowship of people who refuse to be fooled any longer. We are the ones who won't accept that this is just how it is. We are the ones who demand better of our leaders, of our institutions, of ourselves. So make your vow right here and now. Say it out loud. I will not let fools lead me anymore. I will not stay silent when I see deception and incompetence in power. I will do what is right, not what is easy. Let that promise take root in you. And if you mean it, if you stand with me in this fight, then take one more bold step. Write your promise in the comments for all to see. Subscribe to this channel as a public pledge that you're joining the fight for truth. Let everyone know that you refuse to bow to the reign of fools. Enough. The era of fools leading the wise has gone on far too long. It ends now. No more bowing to incompetence. no more silence in the face of absurdity. We will not tolerate the reign of ignorance one day longer. From this moment forward, we lift up the best among us, the wise, the honest, the truly capable. We will give them our voices, our support, our trust, and we will cast down the worst, the liars, the braggarts, the corrupt. We will strip the masks from false heroes and hold them accountable. This is our mission. This is our vow. The best of us will rise, and the worst of us will fall.